North Carolina Congressman Mark Harris. Good morning to you, Congressman. So after the meeting, the president took to Truth Social, writing, House Republicans should unify, stop voting down rules or threatening to do so. No more grandstanding, please. Now, those grandstanders are led by Anna Paulina Luna of Florida, and she wants to stop all votes on all measures unless the Senate passes the Save America Act. Now, that prompted New York Congressman Nick LaLota to say it's like beating your dog because your neighbor won't cut his grass. I know the House has done this over and over again. Senate doesn't have the votes to pass it, but do you really stop everything unless the Senate acts?
Well, listen, first of all, thank you for having me this morning. And you're exactly right. There is great concern. There's great frustration. There's great anger that seems to be erupting here on Capitol Hill at the fact that the Senate has not done their job and moved the Save America Act, something that is supported by Republicans and Democrats alike, actually, a high percentage, maybe 75% of Democrats and 85% or 90% of Republicans support the Save America Act. So that frustration is there. It is very frustrating, though, for us to stop business in the House. And I think the Speaker was trying to get the president to urge all of our colleagues to realize we've got work to do. You know, one of the reasons I came to Congress was because I believed that we needed to get back to regular order. And I believe we needed to pass appropriation bills and try to avoid getting to the end of the year and then having to just do a CR, but that we could actually move appropriation bills. And we're in the midst of that. And this week, because there seemed to be that hesitation to move forward on a rule so that we could have moved an appropriation bill, we just were not able to do that. So the president making it clear that Republicans in the House have got to keep doing their business and doing their work. He's going to keep putting pressure on the Senate. The housing bill was a perfect example, something that the president said, as important as the housing bill is, it pales in comparison. He even said FISA paled in comparison to the Save America Act. The president has drawn a line in the sand. It's important, and it's something we need to get done. The Senate needs to get done, but as the House is concerned, we need to be taking care of our business right now. And I think it's important that we all unite.
Yeah, the Save America Act will be on hold at least 19 days as the Senate is off for those 19 days. But something else that came up from this meeting, you mentioned a potential path to getting President Trump to sign that bipartisan housing bill. He's refusing to sign unless the Save America Act was passed. Speaker Johnson confirming that he's transmitting the bill to the White House. I mean, what do you hope to see happen here?
Well, it's going to be important. I think Speaker Johnson has indicated that he believes the president will eventually sign this bill within the 10-day framework. That 10 days starts, as I understand it, once the bill is actually sent from the speaker. So the speaker has an important role in that as to when that happens. But I do think that the president will end up signing it. It was bipartisan. I mean, look, there were a lot of things I was in favor of it in the House version. It went over to the Senate. The Senate messed around with it. They stripped out a lot of the good features that we had in the House version, and it became much more of the Elizabeth Warren show. And I think the president even noted that in his True Social post about it when he was making the decision to cancel the signing of it there when he was there in the Capitol. But I do believe that we will end up getting it through. It's just going to be important to see how the timing plays out.
Yeah, Congressman, you mentioned it, that we now have a 10-day clock starting to tick with the White House. The president either has to sign it, veto it, or let it come into law without his signature. If he were to veto it, and you mentioned the problems he had with the Elizabeth Warren additions to it, would that be a vote that you would override when it comes back if he vetoed this legislation, or would you vote to override it and put the housing bill into law?
No, I would not vote to override it. As I said, I was one of the 32 that actually voted against it when it came back to the Senate because of the concerns that I had about it. Listen, what would be beautiful is if he decides to veto it, we take it back up in the House, have our version, but attach the Save America Act to it and send it over to the House. I think the president recognizes we need something that the Democrats want. And whether it's Elizabeth Warren's version, if it had the Save America Act attached to it, we would at least be getting something that was so important to the American people, so important to the America First agenda, especially with election integrity. So if he does veto it and we have to pick it back up, maybe we just attach the Save America Act to it and then send it back over to the Senate and see what they do with it, with even Elizabeth Warren's version there.
An interesting road forward, possibly. All right.
Definitely. Well, Congressman Mark Harris of North Carolina, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Well.